Hey folks, welcome to this week's episode of Hunting Matters, brought to you by the Houston Safari Club Foundation. I'm your host, Executive Director Joe Betar, and I'm joined today by my guest, Chris Conrad. Chris is the founder and owner of Republic Boot Company here in Houston, Texas. Chris, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Joe. It's been great. Thank you for having me.
We have a mutual friend. We were talking off air a minute ago. The guy who owns the podcast studio here, Dan Alford with Arc Specialties. So.
Such a great guy.
Yeah.
I was just saying, I mean, he brought me, we were in the Houston Chronicle on the front page, and he goes and makes a plaque for me and then brings it into the boot shop. I said, who does that kind of stuff? What a great human being that guy is.
Yeah. Does he buy boots from you?
He does. Yeah, he does. He does. He brings in his own hide, so he goes hunting
That's right.
around the world, and he's like, I've got this Cape Buffalo. Let's do something cool with it.
Awesome. I want to come back to people bringing in hides into your store there, but let's talk a little bit about your early story. Kind of tell our audience a little bit about how you founded Republic Boot Company, why. I know you were in Italy for a while and then came back to Texas. Just kind of walk us down that path a little bit.
Yeah, I'll do the Cliff Notes version, and we can kind of dive into any part of this you want to go through. But I've always been a proud Texan, fifth generation Texan. My dad was big into history, and so we'd talk about things and kind of on the hunting stuff. We used to hunt our entire lives, right? So we go down to our ranch in Uvalde and just talk Texas history and some of these real fascinating stories. So I wanted to kind of dive deeper into that. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's more of a perspective thing, right? So I traveled a tremendous amount. Actually, in '93, I was this student ambassador to Russia when the USSR was breaking apart. So I'm over there at orphanages and stuff, and I'm just like, wow, this is not Houston, Texas. Yeah. And I got addicted. I said, let me see more of that. And so, I couldn't do mechanical engineering in Texas A&M, but coming out of that, I was like, I need to travel. I want to see more. So me and my wife went to Italy and lived there. So it's really about that perspective of their culture and just kind of nerding out and digging into the way the Italians, I traveled to Japan and Korea and all these different fabricators around the world, and they'd always ask me about Texas. So I'd have to be the expert. I'd have to be the ambassador of Texas around the world. So I read more Texas history books than probably anybody and just traveled for a tremendous amount of time. So through all of that, I really embraced the way that the cultures of, say, Japan really, went after the soy sauce or the samurai swords and all that. They were very specific about that. They're asking me about like Texas culture and kind of because we have a great brand, internationally, and people want to have that independent Texas cowboy thing. But a lot of people, when they came back to Houston, we're just a big city like Singapore or anything else. We didn't have that thing that people were looking for. So I was really striving, Joe, to create something here. So after a lot of that travel, I came back. We liquidated our 401k, started a small shop out in Katy, and with the product, the high quality product, but also the experience, bringing in live music and having that sense of camaraderie, which is not like a restaurant or a bar. It was something kind of cool, and it was a small scale, early days, and so that was kind of the genesis of the whole thing. So we've taken that and grown it. Really wanted to focus on making this luxury, cool brand that's approachable, and it's just been this grind. So there's a lot to that whole world.
Sure,
but it's been a journey, right? So it's been a very hard grind, but over the past, since we came into the heights and went into this location about 5 years ago, it's just exploded, right? We've doubled the business, and it's a hard road to continuously grow something that is not mechanized.
Yeah,
we're talking about craftsmen, but we've been really embraced by the community through that. So a lot of parts of that, but it's been great.
The Houston Safari Club Foundation's Worldwide Hunting Expo and Convention is back. January 23rd to the 25th at the Woodlands Waterway Marriott. Explore worldwide hunting and fishing outfitters, gear, auctions, raffles, and banquets. $20 at the door, kids under 15, military and first responders free with ID. Learn more at WeHuntWeGive.org. Sponsored by Boyd's Gun Stocks, Capital Farm Credit, Copandero, DEA Ranch, Dex Imaging, Genus Logistics, Gunworks Revic, and Wildlife Partners.
I'm guessing in your business, word of mouth. I mean, you guys are dealing with artisans creating these products. I'm guessing word of mouth is huge for you.
It is. I mean, so you can't screw up, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody talks to everybody, especially in the rodeo world or the oil and gas world, whatever, these different circles that people are in. Your name is everything, especially a handcrafted product. And if you do screw up, right, you have to own it and call them in. and then go through what's the issue. You know, again, oil and gas world that I've been in for 25 years, which I just got out of, by the way. I just officially retired out of Chevron. It taught me a lot, but this is one of the most difficult businesses I've ever been in, because you have to create a piece of art that's wearable, that is expensive, with a great experience behind it. So, you know, you've got to really, you know, you can't screw up, right? So it's a hard thing to scale, but it's been great.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, let's, at the end of the day, I'm oversimplifying this, but it's people's feet.
Yeah.
And you work on them. You're in your boots all day long. I mean, they got to be comfortable. They got to be, you know, all those things. They got to be adaptive. They got to fit your need. And everybody's got weird feet and all that stuff. And it's, I'm sure it's, you know, I'm sure you guys have a lot to deal with in dealing with customer satisfaction, because some guy comes in, his right foot's twice as big as his left, and you know, all these other things. You kind of, I'm sure it's kind of every day is probably a new surprise, a new journey.
It is, you know, and you have to really educate the customer the way it should feel, because everybody's used to, as you said, they have different feet, but they have different things that they wear. Maybe they're wearing a women's high heels all the time. Maybe a guy's wearing just slippers or tennis shoes, not wearing dress shoes. And you got to understand the way a cowboy boot feels at the beginning.
Right.
It's full leather. And so we like to really get in. I'm an engineer, right? So go into the engineering details of what is happening inside the boot. You know, we're talking about veg tan, two kind of leathers that we can go into that later, but it's like chrome tans on the outside. But the way that your foot is feeling, it's called veg tan, and your foot will sink into it, but it takes a break-in period of time. So once you explain to people, like, heat this thing up, your foot will drop, it'll be like a slipper, it's going to be more comfortable than your tennis shoes over time.
Yeah.
And once you educate them, I think, you know, they actually wear it, and they're like, you're right, wow, this is great, you know, this is the most comfortable boot I've ever had. Let's get a brown pair, let's get a black pair, let's get a shark pair. You know, they just kind of get addicted to that process, because it's extremely comfortable once it breaks in.
I'm curious, you're talking about your international travels. What is, especially in Japan and Italy, I guess, and other areas that you travel, what is their perception of Texas?
Yeah, again, I think we have a really good brand out there. So they always, Walker, Texas Ranger. They have like these reruns of these shows they would watch. You know, so the Italians are really big into Texas. A lot of that, like you go into Germany and they have like country music on the radio, you know, and so they've got country music festivals and stuff. So they love.
Huge over in Europe.
Huge.
Yeah.
And they love Texas, right? We have, again, a great brand, and and you see like people in cowboy boots. It's really weird for me. And actually, where this little town I lived in south of Milan, they had a cowboy guest ranch, and these are straight up cowboys riding bulls. And I had no idea that was real, but they were just, oh yeah, Texas tattoos and the whole thing. And it would just blew my mind, right? So they love it. They've got the and the whole little restaurant thing was kind of set like a Wild West saloons and different buildings and the deal there. And the Japanese as well. Japanese are a little bit different. They're not like that, you know, very country, but they want to, especially Japanese. I've been around to Thailand and Malaysia and all these different places, but the Japanese want to be separate. They want to be a little bit different. So they buy a lot of cowboy boots over there. So they love Texas. Again, our brand is very strong, but you know, when people come here, especially to Houston, such a big city, they want to have that Texas experience here. And what they perceive in their mind, again, what they see on TV and what they read about are really intricate Texas history.
Yeah. It's funny. I asked that question because years ago I was a sales rep for a medical device company back when I was a real very young man. And I went to St. Louis for training, and people were there from, you know, the East Coast, New York, stuff that had never been to Texas. And they actually asked me, so everybody there drives a truck and has a gun in the back? I'm like, pretty much, but that's not everybody. I mean, there's people there that are driving Mercedes and everything else, you know. It's funny. It's always funny to me, and I'm always curious about how other cultures perceive Texas, you know,
that's it.
In the United States too.
Everywhere I've been is that, you know, like the horse, you ride a horse to work, or you have that your gun in the back of the truck, and we're like, well, kind of, you know, sometimes.
Right.
But,
not as much as we used to.
Yeah.
You can't leave your truck open in the high school parking lot and leave your shotgun in the back anymore, but that's unfortunate. But
that's right.
Capital Farm Credit understands that there's something about the outdoors that pulls you in. Could be the fresh air, the colors, the smells, the animals, the freedom. It's all just a part of who you are. And with our recreational land loans, you can purchase land for whatever outdoor pursuit you please. That way, the outdoors won't just be in your soul, it'll also be in your name. To learn more, visit capitalfarmcredit.com. Together, we're better.
So you said you're a fifth generation Texan?
I am. Yes,
So your family's been here since the 1800s?
1800s, yeah.
How does the knowledge of that history, obviously you said you're a student of history. How does that knowledge of Texas history as well as your own legacy influence your attention to detail and craftsmanship and business and from an everyday standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm real big on the education aspect of, when people come in, they're talking about Texas, the Republic of Texas, the history, and kind of that whole legacy. And I go into the kind of story of my family. So we're Germans coming from like Bavaria over to Pennsylvania, like a lot of the Germans did. But then, a lot of them were fighting for freedom and during the American Revolution, and just really an independent sense of just get out of my way. Like we're independent kind of people. So a lot of the Germans were coming down to Texas. A lot of Germans that you see like Fredericksburg and New Braunfels, they came through Indianola this other way. But a lot of the original ones came from Pennsylvania. And my family they signed the Texas Declaration of Independence. Right, so it's just reading their story about how they could traverse this land, still with Comanche Indians, still with hardships that were unbelievable. And I really kind of, again, nerd out on the details of what they went through. Like, how was my great-grandfather breaking horses in Central Texas, going to Beaumont, where my grandfather was born, come and cut the roads to the San Jacinto Monument, just hopping around these different, from an oil field to building roads to breaking horses, and then they settled in the Heights, which is why I went to the Heights. Our current location is in the Heights. He was taking mule trains and building the roads and stuff with these mules, and then from the Houston Post, there's an article that they interviewed him, and he's like, "Oh, these old mules. Rock and rye over here, they're better than these newfangled doodads that are running there. They drinking that oil and all that, So it's just kind of cool looking. Yeah. And I've got another article showing that they're cutting the roads from like San Antonio to Saltillo, or not Saltillo, but on the border of Mexico. And the men would go. It's just scrub brush. I've been out there, and it's nasty, right? Yeah. Scrubby. And the men are cutting the roads. The women and the boys are out hunting. During the day to get the food to continue on to those mules and oxen trains to go cut those roads. Just hard working, So my grandfather grew up in that world and was a very stern person. My dad was a great person, but he's like, your family were hard. So kind of reflecting back to answer your question about the hardships and the struggles that they went through, and my life's way easier. I'm very blessed to travel and see the world and kind of bring that perspective of the world, and then my family's perspective in the Texas history, which is extremely important, to light and to share that with people as well. I think I love, again, Texas history and the struggles and the stuff there. I love it.
Yeah. Hunting Matters is presented by Copandero Indoor Archery Pistol and Rifle Range, your premier indoor archery pistol and rifle shooting destination. Located in Oak Ridge North, right next to the Woodlands, Copandero offers 2 25-yard pistol ranges, a 100-yard rifle range, and a 25-yard archery range. Whether you're honing your skills or just starting, Copandero has everything you need, including rentals, classes, a retail store, an in-house cafe, and a VIP lounge. Join Copandero today for an unmatched shooting experience. To learn more, go to copandero.com. I'm on a deer lease in the hill country, and that's one of my favorite parts of the world is the Texas hill country. And every time I'm out there just scouting around, walking, I'm a romantic from a historical perspective. I walk around and I look, and I'm like, how did these people cross this land on horseback and wagons and dragging families? And the Germans, I mean, they were one of the few people that could survive. They showed up in the spring and they're like, oh, this is it. We're in the promised land. And then by the time summer hit and everything's dead, they're like, oh man, what do we do? We can't plant crops out here. And they're one of the few peoples that survived the Indian attacks. And I don't know, I'm sure knowing Texas history, you've read The Boy Captives and all those books and things. We were talking about that here on the podcast a couple weeks ago. And I'm just always infatuated with the hardiness of the people that landed there and survived, and we're going to do it, and everybody's got to kick in, and that history and that heritage there has always been just.
It's funny because I was thinking about that the other day. Is that I was out there clearing the land. So our ranch is in it's between Fredericksburg and Mason.
Yep.
But that is just scrubby. I mean, thorny, rattlesnake infested.
Yeah.
Land, and I come back with chigger bites still all over me, and I'm just, those people lived out there doing that all the time.
Walking around barefoot.
I know, it's insane. I mean, those crucifix thorns and all that spaghetti cactus.
Yeah.
My God, those people were tough to
Just
go
that and the rock. Every step's a rock, and if you're coming downhill, everything moves underneath you. It's just amazing to me how they even survived and settled that land. But that and the Rockies too. But it's so Republic Boot Company's different. And I know everybody's different in their own way, but you guys are kind of like, your physical store is kind of part-time, not part-time, but it's part museum, it's part concert music venue, it's part saloon. I mean, was that your vision for it when you got started? Is to kind of make it, this is, because I'll tell you why I asked this question. One of my favorite memories as a kid growing up in North Louisiana, we were big duck hunters. There was a place we'd go, and we could go by there on the way home, and they sold decoys and shotgun shells. It was a sporting goods, mom and pop sporting goods store. But you go in there, and there'd be a fire going, be guys drinking coffee. There'd be wet dogs all over the floor, and I could still smell it. That's right. I'm thinking, I'm trying to get inside your brain when you're trying to imagine the concept of your home away from home, if you will, place you spend most of your time in. How did you conceptualize it? Was this something that came in over time, or you're like, this is what I want it to be, we're going to build it?
No, it's a great question. I think, again, I'm going to use that word a lot, perspective. I mean, I've had just a great perspective to travel and see what is great in these other old world countries. I spent a lot of time in Germany and Italy just traveling and just, going to every little town and all that and seeing these awesome things that I thought were very cool, very unique. And then talking to people, and they were, they've got this vision of Texas. So it's creating that experience, that vision of Texas, which is real, right? But it's not just some fantasy that they can, they can go to the mall and get, or they can go to some concert venue and really kind of pick up there. When you come to the store, I wanted it to be very homely, kind of that fire thing. So we got kind of the fire feel. We're not high pressure selling. We're educating you on the veg tan details, the 9-iron, your foot sync, all those kind of things. And that for itself, people just want to be educated and not be sold. You don't want to go into some other shop and there's, hey, how's it going, Bob? Some young kid doing this. No, our people are just like educators. Kind of that engineering aspect. But also, hey, grab a drink. We offer them, and a lot of the spirits we have are local people distilling stuff, and they're trying to get that out to the public. Or we're sponsored by Lone Star and others that have that. Just have a beer and just let's go through the feel of the store and the education aspect of it. So yes, I mean, I saw again the perspective of what I wanted to create, and I saw this vision of this. We tried it out early days when we first opened that first store in Katy. I was like, man, people are really gravitating towards this. They don't want to go to the bar. Hey, honey, I'm going to the bar. It doesn't go over too well, right?
Sure.
Or a restaurant or something like that. Let's hang out at a place that we can talk. Like we've got Judge Ken Wise, which is a great friend of ours, and he's a Texas history. He's the president of the Texas History Association, and we'll just talk about Texas history. What is the next thing kind of coming out? What are you guys going through? It's a place to have this, guy on stage, live music, just jamming, picking a guitar, amazing musician. We're talking Texas history, maybe having a bourbon over here. The guys are in the back. The people over here are designing stuff. We're making hats over here. We have a private venue over there. They're maybe doing a lunch and learn presentation, oil and gas. So the store is over 100 years old and is broken into different sections of making stuff, event, hats, all this kind of really interesting things. So it's this, people are just really overwhelmed, like with sensory overload of the store. And they're, the city of Houston's come to us and said, look, can we use your place? Like the Brazilian embassy's coming here. We want to show them this real Texas feel. So I'm just really passionate about that. Yeah. And so it's the quality of the product and the experience. I really believe that they go hand in hand. You can make an incredible product in your garage, and it could be, oh, that's from Chris in his garage. Okay, that's kind of cool. But it's like a good song. I always think to myself, why do I like that song? Because I hear new songs like, that's a bunch of trash or whatever. But it's because younger days, maybe I'm floating down the river and I heard that song and I hear that song again, and it brings me back,
Right.
you know. And so
Sure.
it's the affiliation of like that experience with that music, or the affiliation with the experience inside the store and the physical product. And you're just like, man, every time I see that boot on the shelf, I'm thinking the time I had, you know, Chris's Bourbon and Johnny Falstaff's on the stage playing guitar. That
Right.
kind of affiliation.
Yeah.
It's important.
Are you looking for an investment that goes beyond the ordinary? Wildlife Partners is the nation's leader in breeding and consulting for the exotic wildlife industry. When you invest in wildlife, you're not just acquiring a 100% tax-deductible asset, you're playing a vital role in the conservation of endangered species. Do you own land? You can turn your ranch into a profitable wildlife-driven business. And even if you don't own land, that's no problem. Wildlife Partners offers unique opportunities for non-landowners to invest in conservation while enjoying significant tax benefits and potential cash flow. Yeah, definitely. I mean, music always pulls back memories, and the sights and sounds of where you are when you first heard that song. I mean, when you were unpacking boots today and I smelled that smell, I was like, that smells like home to me. That just, I don't know what it is, but it draws me back, and there's nothing than a pair of well-made leather boots or boots made out of a hide that, you know, you get that smell, and it's like, oh, that just takes me back. It's just crazy. So in your mind, now how long have you been in the boot business?
About 15 years.
Okay, so you're a good person to ask this question. In your mind, what makes a good pair of boots truly Texan? Because you can get boots all over the world of all shapes, sizes, sorts, as you've seen, but there's something special about a pair of boots from Texas. I'd like to get your take on.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, you know, the Mexicans have been making boots for. I mean, in Leon, Mexico, it's 400 years, you know, of history of the leather capital of the world. So they've been doing that, even when Texas was part of Mexico. Early days, a lot of that leather craft was coming up here. The Texans kind of adopted that due to I was talking about the scrub brush. And things like that. We made them a little bit taller. Texans always were very proud of their Lone Star, putting the star on there, and heavy stitching as well, because you don't want, so the heavy stitching, what it did on the cowboy boot was allow it to not sag, give it more integrity. If it's a piece of leather, it could sag over time. You don't want it sagging if you're going to be running your horse through a bunch of scrub brush and just ripping your leg apart and all that. So from an aesthetic standpoint, we like some decoration up there, you know, from the old school. The toe, right, is the big controversy. Square toe versus point toe versus round toe and all of this. You know,
it's like bow hunters and rifle hunters.
You know, I'm gonna piss off somebody by saying that this is the right way to go, but
Hunting Matters is presented by DEA Ranch. Are you looking for the ultimate South Texas hunting experience? Then look no further than DEA Ranch. DEA Ranch offers some of the best whitetail and exotic game hunts in South Texas year-round. Whether you're looking to fill your freezer or put that next hunting memory on the wall, their professional guides are focused on ensuring each client has a memorable and exciting hunting experience. DEA Ranch offers guided hunts, professional staff, chef-prepared meals, trophy preparation, and more. To learn more, go to dearanch.com. That's dearanch.com.
Old school German boots, Wellington boots, all that was like one size, or there wasn't a left and a right. It was just a square toe boot, and you got in the water and you shaped that boot, but it was square toe. A lot of the vaquero boots were kind of pointy toe. Round toe was in there as well, as you see in some of the old pictures. So what makes a Texas boot? I mean, I think, you know, you want to have people here in Texas making the boot, right? So we've got some pictures over here. You guys probably can't see from the audio aspect, but different craftsman styles of full alligator, a full a tooled top that's very artistic, and then we have a hunting boot that's got reinforced with Kevlar inside for snake bites and stuff like that. These are all made in our shop. Proud of them. They're Texas to me, right? So difficult question, right? To see what is truly Texas, but something that I think I can see a boot that is like a Mexico style boot that's got like heavy stitching and maybe a little bit gaudy in some people's aspect. But I think ours is class here in Texas, cool. I mean, and pegged from underneath with the wood peg, all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of aspects to the boot that are important.
Nobody wants to imagine an emergency on a hunting trip, but when the unexpected happens, you want the team of medical and security experts at Global Rescue to be there for you. Global Rescue Operations Centers are staffed by experienced personnel, and you'll always speak to an expert on the first call. Global Rescue provides unparalleled capabilities to transport members to the hospital of their choice, not just the closest. So trade what ifs for peace of mind with convenient travel services designed for the unexpected. Learn more at globalrescue.com/hunting matters. So being an engineer and a bootmaker is something you don't see very often.
Yeah, right.
So my dad was an engineer, industrial engineer, for his entire career. So I know how you guys think. Your list makers, he always had a pen and a notepad in his pocket and always had a list of things to do. How does your engineering background affect or influence your eye as far as design and integrity of a boot?
No, it's a great question. I think there's two main things. The first is the design of the boot and the materials that are used. I talked about the irons. The irons like the density of the veg tan. So when we went down,
sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. For people who don't know what's veg tan.
So there's two different kinds of leathers, right? So the tops of leathers that are real pliable, like a crocodile and the top of the ostrich or bisons, all these things on the top of the boot, we call that chrome tan. Chromium salts are used to tan. It gives a lot of flexibility to that. We talk about it, the heel and the sole, it's a very hard leather.
Right.
It's called vegetable tanned.
Okay.
So back in the day, they would use like oak, like from the tree and bark and all of this. The tannins inside there, kind of like the wine, right? You have lipids. You eat some cheese and the wine cures it, and you can keep drinking. That whole combination, the tannins out of the oak would cure the actual the leather itself. Take the lipids out and make it usable for you to make it flexible,
Okay.
but hard enough so it doesn't scuff. So there's a lot of engineering that goes into that.
Yeah.
And the people that make that very well are in Leon. So we spend a lot of time down there to understand that process of fiber, interfused fibers, and not using like, sometimes they're using like leather dust and composites and using pressure to make something that feels like a sole, but it's not really a sole. You want to use a true piece of a hide that's veg tanned, and under a microscope you're going to see it be very fibrous locked underneath there, and you can press it down. For the outsoles, you want to make sure that it's strong enough and comfortable enough so it doesn't scuff where you wear the boot out in 6 months. But the insole inside, you want to make sure it's soft enough where as you wear it, it molds to your foot. Like if you put, I know it's weird, but your hand inside my boots, you'll feel like my toe pad and all that, my arch being supported, and that's what makes the boot extremely comfortable. And so we make sure that we have the best materials for that. We make sure we have the best machines, which we don't use that a lot of machines, but we use these 100-year-old welt stitchers that are timed like a Swiss watch that'll go around, because you'll see if it's skipping and stuff like that around the boot to attach it. And then the craftsman, like you want to make sure that these guys are doing it right. There's a whole art, because in a cowboy boot, you don't have laces to, kind of hold your leg back.
Right.
If the throat of the boot is too wide, you're going to slide forward. You're going to think that boot is too short, but you're sliding too much. You want to be able to kind of pop into that boot,
sure.
right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
that allows you to be held back. So the intricate patterns that are kind of put together are very important, right? So we've been working very detailed on guy or girl has a big calf, maybe they're athletic or whatever. It's coming back down to a small throat of the boot, and you got a high instep. You got all these different aspects. You got to be able to slide and get in and feel comfortable, and then as you wear it, it can form or mold to your foot, right? So there's a lot of engineering in that. I mean, there's more than I ever thought.
Yeah.
We're trying to perfect that. We are bringing some technology into that aspect. We always hand measure and do all of that old school way, but we do now have these machines that you can stand and they'll scan you and get your arch as well, because it's hard to measure your full arch. But if I've got your arch measurements and I got your pressure points now, I can build the mold. It's called a last. So there's three main things in a building cowboy boot. One is the last, which is the mold that we keep forever, and that is replicated through our masters that are measuring you, along with the pedograph that's kind of showing your pressure points. The other is the top stitching or top tooling that we're doing all that, and the third is pulling it all together, which is called a lasting process.
In the heart of nature, give your deer the nutrition they deserve with Record Rack Deer Feeds. The premium feeds support antler growth and overall herd health, whether you're a wildlife enthusiast or a dedicated hunter. Record Rack Deer Feeds provide essential nutrients for a thriving herd. Choose Record Rack Deer Feeds for optimal deer nutrition. Visit recordrack.com to learn more.
And then we finish the boot out. But each one of those steps is detailed engineering. So that was a long answer to the first one.
No.
The second point that I really implemented through the engineering and quality aspects and the auditing of companies that I did for a long time. So, I have the benefit of going for Chevron and other companies to go around the world and see how companies are run, and really kind of getting into how do you run your business from the take the order through the accounting aspects and cost of goods sold and material costs, labor costs, all of that, to the engineered product that feeds production, that feeds the quality control, that feeds the output, the whole flow, the ERP systems.
Right.
And so, it was really big. If we're going to grow this, we have to have repeatability. We have to have control over all of these processes. And so our ERP system, which is the system, the enterprise system that holds all the information and has production control, nobody's really doing that in this business that I've seen, because it's kind of an old school cowboy business. So, but keeping it old school with the reflection of Texas history, along with the materials design aspect in the systems and processes, has allowed us to really grow this company tremendously.
Yeah, you're combining the old with the new. I mean, the technology that can give you a three-dimensional, image of somebody's foot now. I mean, that's it was a shot in the dark for most of the bootmaking history. Is custom bootmaking a dying art? Is there an apprentice system? Is there, you hear these reports where like, hey guys, if you're going to be in the skilled trades in the next 15 to 20 years, that's where the jobs are going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, and I'm glad to see that coming back. Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs has been talking about this for years. It's good to see that's coming back. I have a high appreciation for people that are skilled labor, skilled craftsmen and women. Custom bootmaking, you see these things on Texas Hill Country Reporter, stuff like that. It seems to end like, and bootmaking is a dying art. I'd be interested from your perspective. Is it a dying art? Is there something in place to help rejuvenate it and keep that bloodline going?
Yeah, no, it's a really important point, and it's hard when you talk about growth and we're doubling the business. How do you actually? We're not making ice cream. We can't get another machine to help the growth. But shout out to our guys as well, Next Gen, which is kind of the Mike Rose of Houston, trying to get the next generation of tradespeople in here, because the electricians, the plumbers, those are the people that AI can't replace.
Right.
But as far as bootmaking, it's very similar. We try to bring in guys that have maybe been in the business, but I'm going to be a roofer. It's easier. I'm going to be a whatever, but I've got some experience back in the day with this guy and that guy. Or girl. I mean, we have a lot of women now working for us that are seamstress, and they've kind of transitioned into that role. So they might have a little bit of dabble in these things. So we're doing this kind of cross-pollination training of what it makes, these patterns I'm talking about, the sewing aspect, the lasting, the last, what does all mean. So it is hard, but we are bringing a lot of apprentices in, or people that are affiliated with this kind of work, and training them on the full process. So it is one of the most difficult things for us in keeping consistency. So we have our weekly production meetings with our team, which is great. We got Spencer and Josh in there, and Spencer's great. He's our production manager. He's a lieutenant colonel, retired Air Force, so he's very regimented. And Josh was a mechanic, so he's very detailed into the craft and the art. These guys working together with their full team is really helped us. So it is hard, but even this year we brought on 6 new people in the back craft, which is unheard of. I had our original guy that's still kind of semi-retired, Raul Cerrillo. He was making boots for John Wayne, Steve McQueen, Willie Nelson, all these guys back in the day, and he kind of helped us get started.
Okay, I know who that guy is.
Yeah.
I don't know him personally, but I know the name.
Great guy, and his sons, and we still work with the sons and such, and now his grandson works for us. So there's multi-generations involved in this, and we take a lot of that knowledge and pass it down to the next generation. So we're working towards that to kind of keep the production going, and so we're not out super long delivery, because some of the delivery on these custom boots in the industry are 1 to 4 years in some cases. I mean, Lee Miller out of Austin, Charlie Dunn's apprentice, I think he's at 2-something years for a pair of boots. Yeah.
Wow. Are you looking for a smarter way to manage your document imaging and print environment? Dex Imaging delivers industry-leading printers, copiers, and fully managed print services designed to cut costs, boost productivity, and simplify your workflow. Whether you're a small business or a local service with the power of a national network, so you get fast, reliable support wherever you are. Dex gives back, proudly supporting organizations like Houston Safari Club Foundation by giving through profit sharing. Dex Imaging, smarter technology, exceptional service, proven results. Visit deximaging.com or email Adam Montgomery at adam.montgomery@deximaging.com. Like taxidermy.
Yeah, it's kind of like taxidermy. Yeah, you have a certain amount of artists that do it right.
You guys seem to have bridged that gap, though. I mean, by no means are you doing mass production, but you seem to have kind of 2 years is still a long time, but you kind of seem to bridge that gap between mass production and custom boot making, to where these guys have to wait 5 or 6 years. Now you're looking at maybe 2 or so that you're talking about. Is that the space that you really wanted to be in? Is to be I want to do something. I want to do it special. I want to do it right. I'm not just going to crank out numbers.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand kind of our industry a little bit. So you have custom boot makers. Most of the custom boot makers are really kind of small in your garage kind of stuff, or just they're handling maybe a boot a week kind of thing. They're Lisa Sorrells, I said, a few different people out there, but they're doing small numbers, right? Then you have the big guys. You have Lucchese's, Tony Lama, and then you got even some of the Berkshire Hathaway, guys, which is Nakona, Justin, Tony Lama, and that market is way different. We call them stock boots, and so they. Back in the day, they had the distribution agreements with like a Cavender's, Shepler's, all these different companies. So they would make boots in bulk and sell through distribution because they couldn't sell direct because you didn't really have that market, except for old school catalogs. Internet generations coming along, you have companies like Tecovas, which is not going through distribution. They're going direct to the customer, and they're playing kind of the game with the marketing game, but also with the price points. So hey, it's a because if you go through distribution, you're marking the thing up.
Right.
If you're going direct, you're taking higher margin, you're taking better margin. So they've dominated. And there's a lot of companies that have kind of come in that Tecovas kind of realm. And so I think we're way different than those two things. I think from the custom standpoint, we're doing a lot of customs. I think we're probably the leader in custom cowboy boots in the world right now. We have thousands in the backlog. We're cranking, but again, focused on the highest quality. I want to continue the quality, and it's the hardest game to play, right? And the systems and process, like I said, are helping us with that. But we're also in the stock game. So we're in a higher end price point, probably double the price of a Tecovas boot, for example. But we're doing it the same way as the custom boot. Again, engineering details with channel welt, flipped up by hand, taking it, welting the whole thing, using premium veg tans and premium chrome tans, and we're vertically integrated in our business. We have our own crocodile farm. We have our own tanneries. We have our own production facilities. We have our own distribution. And so we control the entire process. So we can produce a higher end stock boot. And so to answer your question, yeah, we want to continue to elevate the stock boot line because honestly it's easier, right? It's the size 9, 10, 11, 12, and we can sell those a lot faster than trying to make, a mold and then build that boot with all the specific specifications. With the stock boot, I can make a certain design. I can make 30 of them, and they're still done by hand, but they're done with a single design, which makes it a lot faster. But the quality is still there. So we're the only ones kind of really doing both of this game, elevating both of the games on the boot side, but also creating incredible other leather products that people have asked us for. Bags. I think our bags are some of the best in the world. So elevating that bag world, going into business to business where we're getting even shirts, like we have these shirts and we're selling those into Buc-ee's. Just keeping our brand out there. We never want to take away from, we're a boot company, Republic Boot Company, but the affiliated products still accentuate the craft and the attention to detail and quality of the boots, bags, belts, things that we do like that.
Yeah. So for somebody who's never been in Republic, you guys do boots, bags, belts, hats. What else are they going to find in the store?
Yeah, I mean, we can do a lot of other kind of
Wallets, I'm sure.
yeah,
Anything
like
leather. Yeah.
leather goods, journals, all of that. We do a lot of stuff for companies. So the company wants to emboss. We can even emboss in house or laser etch, the bags or the journals or I've got it here. You guys probably can't see it, but a shooting bag. This is cool. This is something that I made just because I'm a big hunter and I wanted something. I didn't want a big duffel bag. I wanted to create something that was a shooting bag where you can take this and you can throw it over the blind window.
Yep.
And you got it. You got your shooting arm in there. You've got your essentials. If you're deer hunting, you don't need a whole lot of bullets. You've got just a few things that you need. Your binocular, things like that.
Yeah.
So we can create products for ourselves that are very cool.
Yeah.
Like this thing which is taken off, or other things that our customer base wants. So we have the ability in our craftsmen. We have over 50 people now working for us doing craft things. Yeah, so there's a lot. It's if it can be done, we can make it happen.
Right. You probably go in there 1 month and it's like, wow, look at all this cool stuff. Next month there may be something brand new in there.
Yeah.
So it's good that people can come.
We try not to get way out there. We stay in our
Yeah,
lane.
I get it.
But these kind of things are in our lane.
I got it. Yeah.
Gunworks just launched a new rifle system. It's called Index. It's sized for adventure and engineered for extremes. With barrel lengths as short as 16 inches and a folding stock that collapses to an ultra-short profile, the Gunworks Index fits nicely in a UTV, a float plane, or across the seat of your truck without sacrificing accuracy. The Index features a built-in ARCA and pick rail for use on tripod or bipod, and a night vision rail to ensure you're ready for any scenario. The Gunworks Index delivers magnum capability in the most compact chassis rifle system on the market. Visit gunworks.com to learn more.
When I look at boots, especially custom boots, I don't have it's a weird analogy, but sometimes I look at them like tattoos. Boots are deeply personal to people, just like a tattoo is.
Sure.
I got 3 boys. They're in that 30 to 40-year-old age group. They grew up in the tattoo era, something that was behind me. But they're like, everyone that they've got, and I have a kid in the military too. He's in the Navy, so he's obviously got tattoos, but everyone's got a story, and it's funny to hear their stories, and some of them are not funny, but to hear their stories behind their tattoos. Tell us a funny story about somebody that's come in and has asked for something just absolutely off the wall that they want on their boots.
Yeah, I got a sad story and a funny story, okay. Right? So the sad story was, so this guy's been wanting boots his entire life, right? And he got cancer, right? It was horrible. Yeah. So he's a Vietnam vet, wasn't doing very well. His family's like, this is what he wants. Let's make it happen. So they came in through Michael Berry as well. Like, hey, like they got us all connected, and we said, let's make this happen. Let's go quick. He came in, had the greatest time of his life, his last whiskey with us, and then like 2 weeks later he passed away. In the middle of the process. Our boots take, under a year. 9 right. to a year, 9 months to a year. And so we just dropped everything to make this happen because they're like, we want to bury him in the boots.
Right.
And so we're going to postpone the funeral. And so it's like no pressure, right?
Right.
To make this happen. They're good sports. This guy was awesome, Vietnam vet, just a wonderful human being. So we got it done. You know, we made him his boots, and then they put him on him, and they buried him in his boots, right? So that was kind of
awesome.
That was kind of, people get married in the boots, people get buried in the boots.
Sure.
What we started doing recently was gator hunting. So you go shoot your own boots. So so there's a lot of people that want to go out there and do this. So I guess that's kind of a weird thing, but we have so many different hides, right?
Right.
From hippopotamus that people go out in Africa, get their own hippo, and they got their own stories of getting that hippo, and we make it, or snapping turtle. They want some really wild stuff on the snapping turtle. Yeah. Or they want to have like a crazy scene on top of the boots, which we can fully tool up. So we've done some weird stuff from like solar systems, like, okay, I don't know where that's coming from, but we do a solar system, to a guy, he wants a cosmic cowboy riding a chicken. I don't know.
Okay.
It's like we can do it. So
That's crazy.
Hunting Matters is sponsored by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Under the visionary leadership of founder Johnny Morris, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's is leading North America's largest conservation movement. Together with their partners in conservation, they're positively shaping the future of the outdoors through donations, grant making, and advocacy. The 501c3 Outdoor Fund raises funds to support conservation efforts by activating more than 200 million passionate sportsmen and women, rounding up their purchases in Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's stores and online. Visit BassPro.com or Cabela's.com today.
It cost me cowboy riding a
whatever,
chicken.
we can do it.
That's crazy. I totally lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you something else about the custom boots, and then I got that imagery in my mind. That's cool. Yeah, I can imagine some of the stories that come in. People are like, I want a boot and I want it to look like this. And oh no, I was going to ask you now. So if I want to go hunt an alligator and have you make it into boots, I can call you guys and you guys can set up everything.
We can set up everything. And so back in the day, you can go shoot your own alligator,
Sure.
right? Then you have to go and take it and get it tanned, and then you have to get it back. What we're trying to do is make that process seamless, right? Where you're in line, you come and get measured up, and again, we're about a year out, something like this. I'm trying to pull it back a little bit, but we've been blessed with a lot of orders, and so this is handcrafted product. It's not so easy to do, and we're not going to skimp on the quality. But you're in line while we go tan that hide. And by the way, I'm tanning it. It's not being tanned elsewhere. I'm controlling the quality of it, and I can do it a lot faster. We get that hide tanned. It's going back into the process, and we can, if you get a big enough alligator, you make the full boot out of alligator, or you design the tops, but it's also, again, tying into that experience aspect. If you're with your buddies or your top employees or your top customers, and you guys are out there having the time of your life, and we can make it very cool where you stay overnight, you're on the airboats, you're playing music, you go get your alligator in the boot shop, we're doing music there as well. It was such a great turnout this past season. It's only in September, from September 10th to 30th.
Right.
And we're already starting to kind of book up for 26 now. But that alligator hunting thing was awesome.
How many trips do you guys typically do?
We are doing, so we can do a lot more because we have tags all the way from Anahuac to the Louisiana border.
Okay.
And we've got airboats, we got the whole thing. I think this past year we did like 60, something like that. How many?
Folks, if you wonder what happened there, our timer just fell off the wall.
Yeah.
It's a bad sign. Anyway, you were talking about
flinch.
Yeah. How many alligators?
We did 100 alligators.
100. Okay.
100 alligators.
And you guys sell those hunts out.
We sell them out. Yeah, we sold
Crazy.
out. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
we have Ducks Unlimited and others that are wanting to kind of book up for their customers and get those things out. So it's great.
That's
yeah. So
that you had?
we do. I think probably our best hide, or the hide that's requested the most, is alligator.
Yeah.
And it's just a great hide. You can shine it up, you can wear it out, you can beat it up, you can bring it back to life. So in some of the alligator, it's not so easy to get. So we knew these people, and it just kind of was like a couple years ago. I was like, let's just go out there and do this hunt. And I was like, wow, this is cool. This is a very neat experience. Let's tie it all in. And so I worked on the vertical integration of the supply chain plus that, and it's been a big hit.
The hunting thing kind of steers us towards our topic on hunting, which we like to cover a little bit on this program called Hunting Matters. But we could talk boots for hours, man. I'm fascinated. You grew up an outdoorsman. Grew up hunting and fishing. What's your earliest hunting memory?
Ooh, I mean, I was young. I mean, like I don't know how young I was. Maybe I don't know, 6 years old or something like that. My dad was a big hunter, right? So his whole family would go out, and we would. And those are I feel like I grew up in the country. We hunted Uvalde for years, and just being out there, seeing the stars, being with my dad, or not wanting to be in the stand, and him telling me to be quiet, and all that kind of stuff. Freezing my butt off and all of that. So big deer hunters, and just a lot of that, right? And talking about Texas history, really those drives out to the hill country was my bonding time with my dad, right? So we did a lot of that, and those are things I'm trying to do now. Unfortunately, my dad passed away about 4 years ago, and I didn't know if I really wanted to open this next shop, but he was like, we all die. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just freaking go. Right.
Yeah.
So, but the hunting aspect for me was so personal because those are fond memories of around the campfire, guitar, stars, camaraderie,
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing with my son now because it's tough. My son is 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
At home, there's so many gadgets and things that really take them away, and it's hard, to kind of pull them outside. We do things, of course,
Sure.
but it's not like hunting. We go out there and he'll work his butt off to clear that land, and he's just like, I love this. He's like, why is the steak so good out here?
Yeah.
Because you worked all day.
Right.
You worked an appetite up,
Yeah.
and you're sweating and busting your butt,
Yeah.
and you're looking at stars. And it's just very special to me from the early days until what I can kind of convey now to my kids.
Yeah.
The Houston Safari Club Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that supports the future of hunting and conservation. Wildlife and habitat conservation, youth education and outdoor experiences, scholarships, and anti-poaching efforts are just a few of the programs supported by this organization. Monthly events, an annual convention, award-winning publications, networking opportunities, and valuable resources for hunting knowledge are just a few of the benefits of being a member of Houston Safari Club Foundation. If you're searching for a group of people dedicated to protecting the future of hunting, look no further. Join Houston Safari Club Foundation today at wehuntwegive.org or call 713-623-8844.
Best hot dog I ever had was in the back of a duck blind when it was 20 below. I mean, it's just it changes. Your perspective changes. For people who watch the podcast, listen to the podcast, we always like to talk about hunting and conservation. I'm sure you run across people of all walks, all ilks of life, and have had this conversation with them being a hunter. What is it you tell people when they come to you and go, well, I hear hunting's conservation. How's hunting conservation? I'd like to hear how you portray that story, because everybody's got their own way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it really kind of sets me off, right? Because I'll go off on them because I mean the hunters are the ones doing the conservation of the land and stuff. I say, look, live now down at Friendswood, and you see like early days it was just woods and all of that. Now they're just plowing through trees and taking the natural habitat. How many animals were killed building those massive subdivisions, and the loss of habitat for the animals, ducks or birds or deer or anything like that. You kind of get that thing, and the amount of money that goes in for hunting into the preservation of lands and all of that is extremely important. We raise a lot of money. I was talking about Ducks Unlimited and CCA. Like, I think last year was like $1 million kind of thing. So It's very cool for us to have a product, a cowboy boot that's iconic for Texas, and to give those people a great experience by building that. And also, again, they come in. We do a lot of his and her packages. You bring your wife or bring the husband in if she's buying it, and they're having the time of their life inside there. But that money's going towards conservation of lands and such. So it's very important. I mean, I can kind of go off on the people that are against the hunting thing and think it's just cruel and all that, even though it goes back to the dawn of time for humans. But again, they don't understand, and unfortunately, with today, I get it's difficult for a lot of these young kids to go hunt. I mean, how do you go and get out there, get outdoors, and do it?
Right.
If you don't have a father or somebody that's going to take your friends, whatever, that's going to take you out on this land. So once they see it, I think a lot of people understand. If you don't see it, you kind of see it as a cruelty thing, which it's wildlife, herd management, all of that. But I'm big on conservation of land. I cannot stand. It's my biggest pet peeve.
Right.
Is to see them paving the hill country and stuff like that, or just clear the land,
or building an aggregate pit. Just every time I go out there, there's another hill that's going down.
Yeah, hill going
Makes me
down.
sick to my stomach.
Yeah. Oh, look at that land. Let's buy. Let's put a Costco and a vape shop and all of this. Oh, it just grates me, right? So, hopefully we can do. If I'm president of the Republic of Texas next, right, I'm gonna make this like a mandate.
Yeah. We lived in San Antonio for over 20 years, and every time I look out the hill country, I'd see another hill coming down. I'm like, I understand you got to build roads and stuff, but it's just heartbreak. It gives me chills to even think about it, because it's such a beautiful part of the world. A lot of hunters talk about passing down the tradition of hunting, and I mean, we all have guns and gear and that sort of thing, but really, as I've gotten older, it's more I'll go sit in a blind for 3 days and never shoot anything if I don't want to and I have to. I just like to sit out there and be in nature and watch animals and watch wildlife and that sort of thing. And so now I'm kind of at that phase in my hunting life where I like to pass down education and my memories and share that with other people who are just starting to hunt, whether it's through my own kids or people I've taken turkey hunting for the first time that have never called a bird up in 20 yards. I'm guessing that's something that's a lot of, you guys put a lot of time and effort into your boots. I'm sure that philosophy also applies to boot making, that, you're not only are you handing somebody a pair of shoes or boots to put on the feet, but something that's going to last forever and be part of their family's history.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. I'm big on the education. I mean, if we talk about cowboy boots, I spend as much time as possible explaining those little details. Talk about irons of leather and where it comes from and what is a good cut. Why is that cut good? Why does it fit your foot the right way? Quick side story is we do a lot of events, right? We did this event for Ferrari. It was kind of cool. They brought all the owners of Texas Ferrari in there, and they lined the street with Ferraris. And it's cool. These guys are billionaires. They're walking. What is this place? I don't, kind of say snobby, but they just didn't know what they were walking into. Billionaires. And I took them back, and I spent more time with these guys going through details, and they're just like, this is the best event. They had the music's cool and the food's fantastic, whatever, but the education is something that they could never get. And so you can't sell that. They can't, nobody can pay for that kind of stuff. And so they walked away with knowing a little bit more, right? So, it correlates over to hunting as well. Once you get out there and have that experience, how the scope works and the pig, it's like, wow, there's a pig out there, or there's turkey and stuff like that. It's just another thing. So the more people that we can get exposed to boot making and the details around that, and then the more our company is allowed to grow, and then we'll have some land, because I'm big on taking people out.
Yeah.
I said, for the first time, hey, you never hunted, let's go get some pigs, let's go shoot some turkey. So we have a number of pieces of land that we go and take people out right now, but I want to expand that to get them just a taste of it. Once you get that taste, I think it can go into something more and help this, our world of hunting and conservation.
Yeah, it's funny to me, when you think about it, a lot of your clients are probably hunters. A lot of them aren't hunters. It seems like a prime opportunity where you can connect the dots, though, because maybe they're not hunters, but maybe they love that outdoor lifestyle where there's just horses or just walking around the property, whatever that is. It just kind of goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
100%. A lot of foreigners as well.
Yeah.
They never shot a gun, for example, and kind of blows their mind. But it's not just shooting a gun, but it's also understanding why we do this, how the animals work, how we take care of the animal, the herds, and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of Italians, again, from my time living in Italy, we've brought a lot of Italians over. Yeah. And they've settled here, and so I take them out, and it's just a great time. But I love just teaching people something, or leaving a little spark, and just something there to entice them to learn more and do more. Just as Italy and Japan gave me that kind of spark to understand more about their culture and then reflect it back in mine.
That's awesome. Where do you see Republic Boot Company 5-10 years down the road?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely
sounds like a job interview here, but
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, so we are actively looking in the hill country. Okay. For a place. Awesome. We have some contracts we're working through, blah blah blah, but I want to be out there and not into. We're all about unique feel, right? So it's got to be unique, like our Houston store somewhere else. It can't be in a shopping center and all that. It's not our brand. We're that experience, but that authenticity aspect of the place. So we want to grow, different locations. I previously, early days, I was really ambitious. Let's try and do a shop in Austin, and that didn't. I mean, it worked. It gave me a lot of information, right? But it's just such a different market, a lot of tourist market. They weren't really into boots as much. I mean, higher end boots, right? Yeah. So they'll be cowboy for a day, but they're not going to spend $500 on a pair of boots or $2,000. Yeah. For that matter. So we've got to find the right spot. We've got to grow the brand. Get the bags and the stock boot line bigger and bigger. So I see us being the premier boot company of of Texas, of the world, honestly. And we're working hard to get there from our systems processes, getting better people, getting additional people involved and stuff. So we want it to be cool. We want it to be fun. I love, if you look at our social media and stuff like that, you see all the cool events and stuff we do. We are kind of the go-to place for unique events, corporate gatherings. So we want to do more of that stuff around Texas for sure.
Yeah, you pop open the website, it looks like a party.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all, I'm like, is that Roger Krieger?
Yeah.
I've done kind of with that guy.
No, it's fun. I mean,
it looks like a lot of fun. I mean, it's just like a party the minute you open the website. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. You've got that aspect of back to what we were talking about when we first started. It's more than just a place to come get boots. It's a gathering place.
Yeah.
People are like, I'm gonna go hang out. Like you said, I'm gonna hang out at the boot store, and you don't have to get a kitchen pass to do that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm going to the bar. Yeah, it doesn't sound so good, right?
Right.
Boot shop, okay.
Yeah, you smell like leather. Yeah, I was in the boot shop. You're saving marriages, Chris.
That's right. That's what we do.
Chris Conrad's been our guest. Chris, it has been such a phenomenal conversation. I wish we had longer, but we'll definitely have to have you back. And I want to hear some first-hand accounts of the alligator hunting stories. I'm sure there's been
we got some great stuff.
Quite a few good ones. Chris Conrad, the founder, owner of Republic Boot Company. Folks, check out their website, republicbootcompany.com. You can't get any simpler than that, republicbootcompany.com. And, of course, they're on social media everywhere. Chris, it's been a real pleasure.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you.
See you guys here next week on our next episode of Hunting Matters, brought to you by the Houston Safari Club Foundation. Have a great week. Hunting Matters is a Houston Safari Club Foundation production. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. For questions or more information, email us at info@wehuntwegive.org.